Hello and welcome to Gutter Farms. We're here back with another episode of Westby, Wisconsin, and we have been doing a little bit more of baling up this straw. And as you can see, I think we just finished here. I don't know if we're going to fit 154 bales in. It doesn't look like it. So we're going to shut this whole thing down. We've been going to town here, and I just want to make sure we're not going to get all jammed up on these bales. So I'm going to set them right over here out of the way just so we can pick them up on the next pass here, and we're gonna run this back up to the yard. As you can see, our plow has been doing a good job. It finished up the north section of this, or I guess that's kind of I don't know what section that is. I guess it'd technically be the east section of this field, and he's now going on these other short rows. Once he's done with the short rows, I believe he'll continue to work on these long rows towards us, but having to switch between these two short row segments has definitely given us a little bit of time to get ahead with our baling. So it looks like we can't fold the baler up because we've got a bale in the chute. I'm going to go ahead and just leave this unfolded for the drive back up to the farm. We've only got like 3 more rounds to make up here, or 2 more rounds I should say, to make up here, 3 passes, and we'll be all done with the straw on that field. And I think at that point we are going to let the time move forward here into September, and the goal in September is going to be to harvest these soybeans that we've got in the other field. And I've also been kind of looking at the calendar. We may decide to plant a little bit of wheat or barley just to have some of that additional straw potentially in the next year to have a winter crop in the ground. And yeah, we might need the grain in order to feed the cows. That is one of the things we can put into the mix, so to speak, to get that TMR, and any filler at this point is probably appreciated. Anything to cut down on the amount of baling that I need to do in a given season is fine by me. Now, as we've learned, I'm going to shut this and reopen it because we have reloaded the game since we used it last, and I find that it just doesn't work very well if we don't do that. And this bale trailer is likely going to implode a little bit as we unload the bales here, so I'm going to hit Y to unload, and it looks like some of the bales are popping off here, but it's a little sporadic. So I'm gonna back up again a little bit. I don't know what's going on here. I'm gonna hit Y again to unload bales here, and boom, they all drop off the trailer now. And I think we can get the rest of them off if we just go forwards and backwards a little bit. Looks like I'm just not close enough to the trigger on the other side, so we'll have to toss these last couple of bales in by hand. That's all right. Next time we'll hug the fence just a little bit more, but doing good. And then I guess as long as I'm here, I might as well dump this one last bale out and toss that in as well. So we're getting to a point where we've got a significant amount of straw here in our barn system. If I pop it open and look in our, I guess it's the prices menu, but in our storage menu here, we've got 364,000 liters of straw now built up into the hayloft, which is pretty good considering we've also got a couple more fields. I don't know what the limit is on there. It might be 500K, in which case I don't think we'll have enough room. If it's 1 million, we'll probably have enough room to keep going, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. We do need to rake this up, and I think we're going to plow all of these segments of that field together when we get the tillage tool back over into this field, just to make our lives a little bit easier. I think it'd be better if this was one contiguous field with all these little segments. Some of the little grass areas, the waterways and such, I'm going to leave, but I think some of these we're going to plow together, especially when it's such a narrow little strip like that. So I think we're gonna just grab this closest bit here and kind of circle around. I realize now that I left the bales kind of in the way. I don't think the autoload trailer is going to quite pick them up, and I am going to hit them with the baler most likely, but we'll see if we can figure out a good way to do this. Had intended to pick that little bit up as I cut over, but we're having some problems estimating where this baler fits in. I'm going to try and scoot over here and see if the bale trailer will pick these up. There we go. Perfect. And let's just spin right back around and get going on our rows here. There's not that many bales left here. Part of me was honestly tempted to just leave this little bit of straw left up here. I think we're probably going to get, I don't know, maybe 20 bales off of what's left up here. But I don't want to have regrets as we get a little bit further down the road here, and winter may last longer than I anticipate. It may be quite a while before we have the opportunity to make some more straw, so we better stockpile it while we can. And just like that, I think we are all done here. And so I think what we're gonna do is bring this whole setup back over to the other field that we've still got some straw in, and let the plow kind of keep going over here. We have a lot of raking to do before we're gonna be able to bale all of these other fields up. And I'm looking at this field that we already plowed. It looks like I left a little segment up here unplowed. We'll have to remember to hit that with the plow at some point here. That's rather annoying there, this little bit here. But yeah, I think we'll get the rake and rake all of this stuff up, but I'm not going to do all of that on camera. We've done a significant amount of baling here over the last episodes, and so I will clean this up, get the rake, and take care of these fields off camera, and then we'll check back in on things. Hopefully our plow is going to be done with that other field right around the same time. All right, so we have raked up all of the straw in the remaining fields off camera here, and I've just finished baling up this big top section here. And it looks like our plow is still working on these short up and down rows. It's got to be almost to the point where it's going to start going around the outside here. So I really think we're going to be able to finish up picking up all this straw right around the time it finishes that field there. Like I just said, we've only got these smaller segments here at the bottom. I believe there's 3 of these narrow strips down here at the bottom that we've got to finish baling up. It's not going to take very long. It's definitely all going to fit on one trailer because it's a really scraggly amount of straw down there. And so I'm excited. We've got just about all of the miscellaneous work done here, and then we'll be able to merge those fields together. So I'm going to keep plugging on that. I just wanted to check in since we did get another load of straw all picked up here, another full wagon, and we'll just get it brought right in here. We'll see if we can do this a little bit better this time. And I'm going to set this to unload just like that. We're close enough. Everything in, no problem. I dig it. All right, I'm off to finish baling these 3 fields. We'll check back in when it's time to do a little bit of field combining. So we are officially done with baling all of our straw, and we just drove up here to check on the plow. It looks like he's on his second to last time around. He's got one more round after this one, and that field will be all plowed up, which is absolutely amazing. It's been a quite the adventure there. I have been running on halftime because we're running out of sunlight here in the month of August, and I kind of wanted to get all of that field plowed up because I think that's where we're going to plant our winter wheat over there and get that going. This field here is now completely baled to straw, and this is where we're going to be combining the fields here shortly. We didn't need to wait until today to do that. We could have done that in the next day. So it's really the plowing of this other field that I want to get done because I believe we're going to get the seeder out and try to put some winter wheat in that field here in the next month. So let's go ahead and see if we can dump all these bales in just like so. Good deal. And we're a little bit close to that fence post. Let's see if I can back up and swing around it. Oh, we got stuck. Crash counter +1. So with all of that baling done, I think what we're going to do is actually leave the baler right back over here. It's a nice out of the way spot. We don't really come through here unless we're dropping off bales. And it's finally time to go check out a new piece of equipment that we've had sitting on the farm for quite some time. Over here, kind of in the weeds, we have this John Deere chisel plow, or maybe it's a field cultivator, I guess. I don't know how you want to call it. It is going to work as a cultivating function here in the game. And this is a mod that has been converted. I don't think it was originally a John Deere implement. However, Pleasant View Farms has been trying to convert a lot of older school equipment into the game here. And I absolutely love having kind of a smaller John Deere field cultivator here to do our seed bed prep and stuff like that with. But for today, I think we're going to use it to combine the fields, because if I were to use a plow, I think that it would take a lot of monkeying around, and this is a lot wider. And so I believe I've got the allow cultivator to create field mod on here, and so I should be able to push Y to allow create fields, lower this thing down here, and away we go. We're gonna go ahead and just take this field and bring it right down here. You can see we had a little bit of stubble already, but what I want to do is just make sure that this field is good and joined to the other one. And I'm going to take this around and just kind of clean up the edges a little bit on this field. Make sure that we're joining all of these 3 strips together. That's my goal, is to have one larger field out of all of this and have some nice smooth field edges. And then if I get whipped around here, we can just follow this grassy segment all the way down here, making sure that these 2 segments are going to get combined together. And then we'll do the same on these other 2 segments, plus the up and down, and we're going to be good to go. We're going to have a pretty good sized field here that we should be able to leverage course play and auto drive on a little bit better. Now, I know there's probably some of my viewers in a area like Wisconsin, if not actually in Wisconsin, that are probably cringing as I get rid of these different segments here that are kind of helping with the water erosion and stuff. But for our playthrough and trying to get things done, I'd like to be able to leverage a little bit more of the in-game workers or course play to help us get through some of this field work. And so the trade-off to using some of this really small equipment is we are going to need to be able to use some workers to help us get it done a little bit more efficiently, or else we're going to be here for days and days on a single job. So this is kind of the trade-off that I've decided to go with. Now I'm trying to figure out how to get this little chunk here leveled out a little bit in the field. So if I go about here and lower this down, perfect. We're gonna take this up and kind of give this a little bit better of a curve. I do want to stay out of the actual water that's been kind of drawn on over here. You can see we've got a bit of a waterway, a little bit of a creek or something there running. Don't want to get into that with the field boundaries, so I'm gonna try to be careful to not do that. And I think we're going to leave this field up here as grass for the time being. I could obviously extend the size of this field somewhat. I'm not being too careful on the edges here. We're going to actually take this right in and join it to this other field. So we'll take a couple of feet here, but I'm not ready to take all of this grass here with us. I've got my eye on a few other of the grass areas. We'll extend a few other fields a little bit, but for the time being, we're going to hang on to that and see how the animals are doing on consuming all of the feed that we've given them so far. If we pop open the animal window, you can see as the hours have ticked by, they've actually started eating food, and we're at 20% productivity, 20% health now. And so I'm not too worried about running out of food in the short term. However, it was good to see that we are making those animals productive, which means if we take one more look here, we're just starting to make some milk. We've got 75 liters of milk. Obviously not enough to do anything with, but the The slurry's getting generated as well, and I would assume we're getting some solid manure out there at some point too. And so we'll have lots of fun things that we're going to be able to do probably come spring to get some of that spread, or maybe even in the winter months. I think a lot of the farmers that were near where I was at, I think we spread a lot of the cow and hog manure in the late fall or the winter, and then let that set down underneath the snow layer and had that kind of carry it into the soil, if I recall. I can't remember exactly, but we'll get that in before we need to do some light tillage in the spring and get things seeded. Now I'm looking off in the distance here. I can see our plow coming around. I'm pretty sure that's his final pass, so I think as he gets down closer to us, he's gonna stop and be all done with that course play course. We do need to remember to try and grab that tractor and finish plowing the little segment in this field. Plus, if I recall, looking at the map here, you can see all of this segment that we're adding into field 48 right now is going to need to be plowed as well. So we may need to figure out how we're going to set course play off to do that. We may end up replowing this segment, or maybe we'll use a normal in-game worker and just have him work right to left here. And as he gets into this other segment we've already plowed, we can obviously intervene and save ourselves some of the fuel and worker costs. Speaking of worker costs, you can see this is our first month in the game. We are playing on 1 month or 1 day months. We've already paid $7,000 in worker wages on this particular map, which is not insignificant. So we'll have to keep our eye on that as things progress here. But I'm so far happy enough with where we're at. We're making good progress, and I certainly couldn't have done all of that on my own without a little bit of worker help. So we're happy to pay our fees as needed. I'm just going to set this down and see if I can balance that little piece out as well. There we go. That looks terrible. But we're going to be focused on getting the job done that we're in the middle of here real quick. I think we've got, one more strip down here that we need to grab and plow together. And this will be one large field. And I believe I've got course play set up to recalculate fields when we start the game. And so hopefully I won't have to do anything here. I know there's a way to trigger that field recalculation in the UI. At least there used to be in the previous version. But we're not going to need to get started here on anything like that in this episode, and so I'll see if the game handles that automatically for us. I'm still learning a lot about the new course play, and that's another reason why I kind of want to get started using it a little bit more. It seems to be that it's starting to stabilize. There's a lot of new updates coming out for it still. It feels like every 4 to 7 days there's a new update to course play, but the user interface and kind of the approach that they've taken to how course play works seems to be getting more and more stable. And so for me, that is an indication that maybe it's time to start making some tutorial videos on it. I know it's a lot different than it used to be, and a lot of people have been asking me questions about it, so we'll definitely look into that here sooner than later. However, I think now we've got these fields all combined, which was the goal. So let me just park this guy here, and then we'll jump up here into the plow. I'm going to go ahead and just clean up these rather large areas that got missed, and we can't forget that one over in the other field there. We'll make it happen here. I do like this 4955 quite a bit though. It's a good workhorse tractor here. We've spent a lot of time in the 4240 so far, but this thing has got some power and seems to be doing pretty good at these odd jobs like the plowing. It also does a great job pulling the planter for us. So the unsung hero here, we don't spend nearly as much time in this because we do a lot of the worker jobs end up getting done in this tractor. And here we go. I think we've got just about all of the little tidbits cleaned up here. There's probably a few small pieces left here and there, but nothing major. maybe we'll head up here and take these off as we head over into this other field. I'm keep repeating to myself in my head over and over here that we can't forget about the rather large segment here in the other fields. So I'm trying to make sure we get over there. This plow is rather narrow and doesn't handle trying to do things while I'm turning left and right here very well. We're missing all kinds of segments. It's also a little bit difficult to line up. I'm probably not quite doing this the right way. I've got my plow tire over here on the left-hand side that I should be sticking into the furrow, I think, but that's all right. It is what it is. We're going to just kind of keep doing our thing, get these little bits knocked out. I think this is probably a great place to wrap up today's episode. We've had a lot of repetitive jobs over the last couple episodes, so much baling to do, but we did finally get to knock out the plowing in this big field up here. We got to knock out the baling, and we got this field combined like we've been talking about doing for a little while. So all in all, I think today was a pretty productive day, and I'm finally ready to move forward into September, I think. I'm not going to do it here in this episode. We'll wait and do it in next episode just because we do need to monitor the feed and the cows and make sure that they don't go hungry overnight. So we may be doing a late evening feeding here as we move the clock forward, because I think we've only got probably close to 15 hours of food in there, which should get me into the next day. But just in case my math has gone wrong, we're going to play it safe and take care of that in next episode. Hopefully you've enjoyed today's episode. If you have, drop a like on the video. It helps out a lot. And we'll see you next time. That's all for today. Kedrick out. Oh my goodness, we're crashing over everything. Oh no. All right, let's try this again.